Ohio State played awful. Nebraska played great. Guess who won the game? Buckeyes win 21-17 against the Huskers. Let's run it down right here at the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. Please hit the like button and subscribe. All right. This Nebraska outfit showed up in Columbus, of course, a 25-point underdog. Of course, they were completely humiliated, embarrassed. Forget the score, 56-7. We'll say it there against Indiana last week, a game in which myself and others viewed as, okay, this is the proving ground. These are mid-tier teams that have proven little. Who's going to ascend? Who's going to break through? Who's going to show that they possibly can challenge? Well, Nebraska did not just fail the test, they failed miserably, but they showed in Columbus, ready for a fight. They muffed the opening kickoff, and it went out of bounds at the 9-yard line, or they fell on it at the 9-yard line, reminiscent of their start against Indiana in Bloomington last weekend, where they muffed the opening kickoff, and it went out of bounds at the 1-yard line. So it appeared to be, oh, here we go. It's Nebraska football once again. The blitz coming from Ohio State on the third down play. Tyleik Williams with the sack. So you had the muff inside the 10-yard line, the sack on third down by Tyleik Williams, and then the shanked punt of 31 yards set up the Buckeyes, and you just figured the route's on. Zen Michalski. Okay, Zen Michalski in replacing Josh Simmons, out for the season, Ohio State's starting left tackle. He might become infamously one of the most known and talked about Buckeyes, not just on this day, but throughout the weekend and going forward. Although he left the game late in the game, but he was certainly abused in his first career start. Gave up a second play, Jamari Butler sack. Nebraska stopped on fourth down. Travion Henderson tried to run it, and the offensive line for Ohio State did not show up in this game. They were obliterated. They were overwhelmed. They were dominated for much of the game. 31 rush attempts with two of the very best running backs in the country. 31 for 64 for Ohio State. Isaiah Neyor made a remarkable, huge catch, but it was overturned. I continued to mention Michalski and write him down in my notes. His name is written down more than anybody else. Struggled again. After one of these particular plays where he was clearly whipped at left tackle, and Will Howard was forced to throw early when the rest of the offensive line in pass pro blocked the play, but the one player coming off the edge got to Howard and he had to throw it away, that they then immediately slid the protection, did the Buckeyes, toward the left side to help out Michalski. Nebraska wide receivers don't block. That was mentioned by Joel Klatt, and it was proven throughout this game a number of times, except for when their quarterbacks get downfield. They do block in those circumstances, but in regards to blocking for each other, Ohio State had 8 tackles for loss in the first 19 minutes of game time. So the defense was largely playing well. Even Denzel Burke, as a run defender, was playing well. He shed a few blocks in the wide receiver screen game and made some plays behind the line of scrimmage. Carnell Tate, 4 catches for $102. Post-bomb touchdown, 6 plays, 91 yards for the Buckeyes, 7-0. Then on the 3rd and 10, coming back the other way, Nebraska, Dylan Raiola gets free, huge run, and this is part of his game that is lethal, and especially when he's struggling throwing the football as he has against quality opponents, this is a good weapon to have. 21 of 32, but only $152 through the air for Dylan Raiola as they could not throw the ball downfield for the most part. He missed some shots we will discuss. Again, Downs, Burke, back-to-back tackles for loss when Nebraska was close to scoring a touchdown. 7-3 ball game as the Buckeyes kept Nebraska out of the end zone. And then there's always going to be a Jeremiah Smith sighting. And if there's not, then it's shame on Chip Kelly, shame on Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith, right down the field, was basically playing the inside slot and just raced past everyone for a 60-yard touchdown. He was in the clear, and there he goes. 3 catches, 70 yards. So obviously not utilized much in the downfield passing game because the offensive line struggled in pass protection. But that was a big touchdown for the Buckeyes, 14-3, and it appeared as though that they would slowly distance themselves in this game. Mahalski abused. Have I said that before? I marked it down again because, again, I saw it. And Will Howard suffered a strip sack by Barney, got the football back, and then the very next play, MJ Sherman with a sack for Nebraska. Fielding missed the field goal that kept it a 14-3 game as he pushed it badly to the right side. Horrible. One of the worst spots of a football that I've ever seen as Nebraska was looking to convert on 3rd and short, and they gained the first down by 1.5 to 2 yards, and inexplicably it was marked back behind the line of scrimmage or behind the first down marker. So Nebraska pushed it across for the 4th down conversion. Unfortunately, it wasn't as simple as that. They had burned a timeout. They lost time on the play as well, and that really rushed the situation. Then there was a bad pass interference call, offensive PI on Isaiah Nair. It was simply a play downfield in which Nair and Burke were tussling, and nobody gained the advantage. There was no big push-off, no grab, no hold. Nair was called for the pass interference. It was a horrible call by the officials. They struggled on this day. But John Hull, Nebraska's been struggling mightily in special teams. They can't snap it, they can't hold it, they can't kick it, but John Hull got the first 2 parts of that down, and he was able to convert from 54 yards at the end of the first half to make it a 14-9 ball game. All right, Nebraska energized coming out of the locker room. 56-yard drive, field goal, 14-9. Will Howard, bad overthrow on the interception. He was fooled by the coverage, but also overthrew it, picked off by Malcolm Hartzog, who returned it all the way down to the 5-yard line. But the Buckeyes stuffed Nebraska as they did not put the ball in the hands of Dylan Raiola at all inside the 5-yard line. 4 straight inside runs. The Buckeyes were up to the challenge. Don't run on Ohio State in certain situations. Most teams should know this. I know that Nebraska wants to roll up its sleeves and prove who they are, and Matt Rule wants to be a power running team. But let your quarterback roll out and run it. Look how effective he was running the football. Give him an option, roll him out, run, pass option. Anyway, they run into a brick wall 4 times and they get stopped at the goal line. Will Howard with that 1 missed throw, but considering all the offensive line woes in the pass game, 13 of 16 for 221 through the air. Raiola missed a wide open Jamal Banks, would have been a walk-in touchdown. This is with the Buckeyes still leading this game at 14-9. The Buckeyes can't convert on a 3rd and 1, not even close. to Murray Butler with another tremendous play behind the line of scrimmage, and Ohio State again could not run the ball on short yardage plays, much like they couldn't in 2021, 2022 when they had issues and could not get to their stated goals because that being a huge issue, offensive line. And here we are in 2024, midway through the season. Raiola beautifully beat the blitz by Caleb Downs, hit Nair, who beat Burke on the inside slant. Basically was a touchdown, got him down to the half-inch line. Dowdle scored and the 2-point conversion, 17-14 on the 74-play drive. 9 plays, 74 yards. And wow, we've got a ball game. 6 minutes left, and Ohio State needed to get something done. Well, they relied on Carnell Tate for a big pass play. Quinshon Judkins in the run game. Will Howard in the run game kept it a number of times, and then Judkins got free for his only reception of the game, but it was a huge one. Buckeyes went up 21-17. Then the Ohio State defense took over. The Ohio State offense could have salted the game away, but on a 3rd and 9, they curiously threw a screen to Travion Henderson. On 3rd and 9, that was a good 4 to 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Are you going to get 15 yards on a run against a Nebraska defense that was playing that well? I just don't think it was a good play. You got Carnell Tate, you got Jeremiah Smith, you got G. Scott. You've got options in the pass game. Emeka Buka, oh, remember him, who came up with some huge catches even though the numbers weren't huge. Give it to Will Howard, 3rd and 9. Let him try to convert, keep the defense off the field, run out the clock, win the ball game. But they punt it back to Nebraska. And again, of course, we see the Ohio State defense hold. The pass rush was really strong the last couple Nebraska series. Jordan Hancock with the interception, and the Buckeyes survived 21-17. Penn State is the opponent next week on the road in Happy Valley. Ohio State needs to clean up its act. Again, 64 yards rushing will not get it done. And Nebraska, despite the loss, this is the best game Nebraska's played in 6 or 7 years. Can you think of a better game? So this is obviously the difference in the two teams and the two programs, is that the Buckeyes play horribly and win, and Nebraska plays great and they lose. But still, after what we saw out of the Huskers last week, this is a huge, enormous step in the right direction. Dylan Raiola, to me, very talented player, but think about it. In the big games, Colorado, he was not needed. They led 21-0 like that, physically dominated, so he did not have any pressure situations to throw through there. But then against Illinois, he faltered despite a good game through 3 quarters. He faltered in the 4th quarter and overtime. Did not play well against Rutgers. They only scored 14 points. He was 13 of 27. Did not play well against Indiana. So he finally came through for the most part, and when he missed throws, sure, he missed throws. Believe me, he missed wide open guys throughout this game. However, he played well, and he stood up to the pressure, and when Nebraska's offense faltered the final few drives, it was offensive line related. They could not handle the Ohio State pass rush. Buckeyes win 21-17. This is on the Ohio State offensive line, and with Zen Michalski also possibly out going forward, Ohio State has to come up with some answers. Your thoughts about the Buckeyes and the Huskers, leave those comments and questions down below right here at the Voice of College Football.